The proposed Central Maryland Red Line is a bit closer to reality. The project has cleared another major milestone with the Federal Transit Administration. And here to tell us what it all means is Henry Kay, Executive Director of Transit Development and Delivery. Henry, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, I'm glad to be here.
This was exciting news. We keep clearing these hurdles, and for folks who haven't been keeping up with the project, I guess, let's start with a bit of what it is first off.
Sure, the Red Line is one of the biggest initiatives MTA has going on now. We've been working on it, very hard for almost a decade now, and it's in our sights. But what it is, it's a 14-mile light rail line. It would go from east to west across the region. So you'd be able to get on a train out near Security Square Mall in Woodlawn and ride all the way through the Route 40 corridor downtown, out through the east side, and end up at Bayview Hospital. So partially on the surface, like our existing light rail line, partly in a tunnel, like our existing metro. So we're trying to come up with something that kind of uses the best of both those systems and creates a rail line for the future of the region.
Okay, now we're going to get technical for just a bit here. We've got to talk about this record of decision and what exactly that means for the project.
Yeah, record of decision is the term that's established in federal environmental law. It's the way that at the end of the day, the federal environmental agencies sign off on the project. So probably a way to think of that is this is final environmental approval for the project. So it came as a result of years of analysis that we did. We published it in a series of documents. The last one came out in December of 2012 called the Final Environmental Impact Statement. And that was a very meticulous description of the project itself and all the kinds of both human and natural impacts that would occur as a result of it.
So not a done deal, but a major step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's far from a done deal, I'm sorry to say. The Red Line's a very ambitious project. It's going to have to be fully funded, it's going to have to be constructed, and it'll be a number of years before we can really expect to see it in service. I mean, right now we're scheduled to be in service in early 2021, so you have to be a little bit patient to sort of think in those time frames. We have a lot to do in the meantime.
Now, we recently heard an announcement about a partnership that the MTA formed with the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation that would have to do with jobs that this project is expected to create. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a project that's as big as the Red Line, is going to create a lot of jobs, and that's a very important benefit of the project that, the region has always expected to see. So people have to build it, and someday people have to operate it. And so we have, in addition to all the other aspects of planning the project, had to focus on what kinds of job opportunities might exist. And in order to make sure that happens, we've entered into this partnership with a sister state agency, the Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulation, because they're the people who really have the resources to identify candidates, to train them, and to get ready for the jobs that will result when we actually bring contractors on board to build and, as I say, someday operate the line. So we've locked them down in a relationship. We'll work together. We'll bring our specific needs to the table. They'll bring the training resources they have, and hopefully we'll be able to feed people into them who, or will get those jobs at the end of the day.
And these kinds of relationships say that we are just getting closer to bringing this thing to reality.
That's right. These are all the things that we have to do to make this happen. I mean, we have to design the project. We have to, as we said, get environmental approvals. We have to find funding for the project. We have to show these designs to the public. We have to establish relationships with entities like the Department of Labor and Licensing and Regulation, with BG&E, with park agencies, with the State Highway Administration, because there's just a lot of details that have to be resolved behind the scenes before we can break ground on something like the Red Line.
Well, we are looking forward to the day that the first shovel hits the ground and we can say it is a reality.
Thank you, me too.
All right, Henry Kay, thank you so much for coming in.